Hi, everyone. I'm Joanna Portella, Global Marketing Communications Manager here at Fiery, and welcome to our World of Fiery webinar, Make Print Personal, a guide to variable data printing success. It's great to have you with us today, and we have an incredible audience. I was just peeking at our attendee list here, and I see that we have people from all over the world. And I'm speaking myself from sunny Germany today. And no matter where you are located, I hope you enjoy what we have prepared for you. Today, we're going to explore how variable data printing can transform the way you approach personalized printing communications. And we are excited to share insights that can help you take your printing strategies to the next level. But before we jump in, just a few housekeeping items. Your microphones are muted to avoid unexpected background noise, but we absolutely encourage interaction. Feel free to use the chat and Q&A functions to ask questions at any time during the presentation. We have allocated time at the end for a Q&A session where our expert speakers will address your questions. Additionally, please note that this webinar is being recorded. You will receive a link to the recording in a few days via email, so you can revisit the content or share it with colleagues who couldn't join us live today. Now, I would like to introduce our speakers who will be guiding you through today's session. Giselle Robson, our Senior Product Marketing Manager, and Hans Sepp, our Product Line Manager. Giselle and Hans are going to show how to turn print jobs into a personalized masterpiece that your clients will absolutely love. Ready to make print personal? Let's do this. Giselle, the virtual floor is yours.
Great. Thanks, Joanna. Hello, everybody. Hans and I are very excited to talk to you about one of our favorite topics today, which is VDP. So let's talk about what we plan to cover today. So we'll give a quick refresher on VDP and reinforce the value of offering VDP both to your customers and in your own business. We'll show you how to overcome some common barriers to offering VDP and what you need in your shop to get started with it today. And then we'll get into the meat of this session, talking about FreeForm Create and doing demos of some common applications. Finally, we'll wrap up and give you guidance on what to do next.
Right, so our first poll is coming up on your screen. Just in a second. Yes, so our first question is, which describes the VDP service you offer today? I don't offer VDP yet, but I'm interested in it. Or B, basic variable text like addressing. Or C, full VDP, including variable images, personalized text, barcodes. Choose your answer, click on submit, and we'll check the results in a few minutes.
Great. Thanks, Joanna. Okay, so while you're filling out that poll, let's do a quick refresher. So VDP, or variable data printing, is any printed piece that is customized in some way for the intended recipient. Sometimes the printed piece is a standalone piece. Sometimes it is a component of a larger marketing campaign, which may contain other types of communication, such as email. But for this session, we're going to focus on the printed piece. VDP can be as simple as adding an address on a printed piece, as you see here on my screen, or as complex as a piece where virtually every aspect is personalized, like you see with these postcards on the screen. They've got variable images, they've got variable text, they've got pearls, they've got all sorts of variable aspects going on. VDP helps your customers create more effective campaigns. Personalized, data-driven marketing materials drive higher response rates with more relevant information. We got some data from the Association of National Advertisers on response rates for direct mail. A non-personalized mail piece's response rate was around 2%. But when that mail piece is personalized, the response rate increases threefold to 6%. So you can help your customers be 3 times more effective with their marketing campaigns. So Hans, I think you have a great example of a real-world application for this.
Yeah, thank you, Giselle. Absolutely. Well, as a product manager for VDP, I always professional obsession to keep an eye open for interesting personalized mails. So this is one that I came across a few weeks ago. And for those attending from the US, you know that when somebody wants to attend college, they will get inundated with lots of email, both electronic and physical. So this is an example I recently saw where on the right, you see the normal brochure for a college. Brochure looks very nice. It's okay, but Adobe quickly discarded it into the recycle bin. Then on the left is the same brochure. It's not the same brochure, but it's from the same college, which is now deeply personalized for our daughter. You can see bright colors. The person is called out specifically, not just on the front of the brochure, but also in the brochure and on the back of the brochure where the person is called out regularly. I think this is a really nice example of something that is something that is immediately discarded versus something that is still on the table today.
Great, thanks, Hans. Yeah, I'm also guilty of always keeping an eye out for fun mail and seeing where personalization is used. So direct mail in general is effective at grabbing the audience's attention. So in this study, 59% of respondents said that direct mail not only influenced them to consider a product or service, it influenced them to actually make a purchase. And then you see in this same study, 66% of recipients definitely or usually paid more attention to personalized direct mail. And really, it makes sense if you think about how physical mail is perceived versus email. I'm sure everyone on this call has an overflowing junk email folder, and you rarely go in and look at it, right? I mean, I even have filters set up to automatically organize certain incoming emails so it doesn't clutter my inbox and I never even see it. But with physical mail, as you just heard from Hans, every one of us goes to the mailbox and at least looks at each piece of mail before we decide to trash it or we decide to keep it. And if it's personalized, it's more likely to catch your attention. And that split second could be the difference between the trash can and your counter. So don't you want your customers to also have that opportunity to catch the audience's attention? And lest you think digital channels are the only way to reach younger generations like millennials and Gen Z, well, you'd be surprised, and I sure was when I found this study, which assessed the advertising channels that most commonly attracted attention. So looking at these demographics on the screen, you see direct mail is in the purple boxes. And what you see is it's in the top 3 most effective marketing methods for all of these key demographics. Now, you'll also see that social media and streaming services are clearly effective among younger consumers, but that doesn't mean that younger consumers don't pay attention to direct mail. Younger consumers may respond differently to direct mail than their older counterparts, but direct mail remains a top media choice among all age groups. So you have direct mail being effective for all demographics, then you have personalized direct mail being even more effective to grab the recipient's attention. It's a win-win. So we just told you why offering VDP services benefits your customers, but there are real tangible benefits for you, the print service provider, as well. Personalized print justifies a higher per piece cost for printed materials based on higher response rates and any extra work required to set the files up. This helps you as the print service provider build a loyal customer base that comes back again and again, and thus drives you more business. This helps your customers more directly target their desired audiences, which then leads to higher response rates, producing happy customers that will want to come back to you again and again for future VDP projects. There are also many simple applications that can consume many hours of graphic designers' time that can be implemented as a VDP template, such as business cards, postcards, and other repetitive types of applications, which can result in many hours saved for a graphic designer each month, but frees that graphic designer up to do other, perhaps more complicated design applications. So when we talk to customers at shows and we ask them for ones that are not offering VDP today, we hear a lot of the same responses. So VDP software is too expensive. Well, that's true. Some VDP software is very expensive, but they also include huge feature sets for very complex campaigns. And honestly, most print service providers don't need that level of capabilities. We'll show you a free tool that's great for novices and experts alike. I don't know how to work with the data. Well, data can be intimidating for those new to VDP, but we'll show you some tips to make the data less scary. We don't have the technical skills. Well, we'll show you a user-friendly tool that anyone can use. My clients won't be interested. Well, show them the value of VDP. Given what we just showed you, it would be very surprising if they don't want to get the very best results from their marketing campaigns. It doesn't fit into our business model. We just showed you some very compelling statistics about the impact of VDP. Your customers want to maximize their marketing dollars. If you don't offer these services, they'll find someone who does. So don't miss this opportunity. Hans, how can our customers get started with VDP?
Yeah, thanks again, Giselle. How do you need to get started with variable data or VDP? It's quite straightforward. Your customers need a few key elements from you. First, they need an idea, the specific goal they want to achieve through a direct mail campaign. As shown earlier, the goal for the college is for our daughter to sign up. Second, the most crucial aspect of VDP is the data. This can be as simple as a comprehensive, this can be a simple Excel sheet or CSV file, or it can be a comprehensive data set that has been meticulously cleaned and enriched by third-party providers. Next, you'll need a design application, similar to the ones you might already use to create files for your customers today, like InDesign or maybe possible Word. Additionally, you require a digital printer, obviously, preferably Fiery-driven, and a variable data application. As a product manager, I have an excellent suggestion for a free variable data application. So first, a quick explanation. When we at Fiery many years ago began discussing how to best help our customers in embracing variable data and its features, the variable data features on our Fiery servers, we quickly realized that in addition to all the features like barcodes and variable text, we needed to make this application free to our customers to minimize the barrier for entry for them to begin using variable data. This free application is called Fiery FreeForm Create. And if you're new to VDP, Fiery FreeForm Create is a standalone visual variable data creation application, specifically designed for Fiery servers. It enables you to add personalization to existing PDFs. You see a number of examples also on the slide. And it has what we feel is a user-friendly, intuitive interface that's accessible to anyone. Many PSPs today create variable data documents by performing mail merge in applications like Word or InDesign. There's nothing inherently bad with this, but these applications generate lengthy files containing repetitive static elements. And while the Fiery servers are renowned for their ability to process large files more efficiently than other DFEs, there's a more efficient way to produce variable data files. And that's where FreeForm Create comes in. FreeForm Create saves files in a Fiery optimized format called Fiery FreeForm Plus. This super efficient file format encapsulates both the design file and the variable content. That's kind of unique to FreeForm Create. It allows the Fiery server to process static content once and then apply it to every record, thereby significantly reducing processing time. Furthermore, FreeForm Create doesn't only allow you to add variable text, but also images and barcodes, again, for free. It's suitable for both beginners and more advanced variable data applications.
Thanks, Hans. Joanna, I think we've got another poll coming up here.
Right. And just before we launch that poll, let's take a look at the poll we had in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sharing the results over here. And it looks like we do have a very good mix. It's almost percentage-wise equal at people that don't offer VDP yet but are interested, and people doing more basic VDP jobs, and people that are doing very complex VDP jobs. So that's really good to see.
Oh yeah,
Now,
great mix.
yeah. So let's jump into our second poll. I'm just going to open that to you just in a second. And this poll has two questions. Oh, sorry, there's something that keeps popping up. And the question is, the first question is data security in VDP jobs a concern for you or your customers? And so yes or no question. And the second question is, how often do you have issues with data sources provided by your customer? So yes, do find your answers and click on submit, and we'll see again the answers to this poll later on.
Great. Thanks, Joanna. Okay, so now let's see how Freeform Create works. So I'm going to do a couple of demos for you, and then Hans will also do a demo for you. So in these demos, there's going to be something for everyone, no matter whether this is the first time you're seeing Freeform Create or whether you are an experienced user. So we'll also make sure to point out some of the newer features in the latest version. So give me just a second. Let me switch over here. Okay, so here is the Freeform Create application. So hopefully, if you're seeing this application and you've been using Freeform Create for a while and your interface does not look like this, it's time for you to update. But you need two things to use Freeform Create. You need a master PDF and you need a data source, which is usually an Excel document. So I'm going to use the variable data document workflow here. So the first thing I do is I pick my master document, and then I add my data source. So Freeform Create looks at my data source. It sees each column in the data source, and it classifies it as a text, image, or a barcode. Well, how does it know what all of these elements are? And so let me actually show you the data source for this application. So in our data source for variable images and variable barcodes, excuse me, we use symbols called accelerators. So if you look here before USPSIM barcode, you see this little sort of vertical line. This vertical line is an accelerator, and it indicates that this column contains a barcode. And you see barcode contents for each record in this data source. Then when I go over here to column K, this is a column that includes variable images. And so you see before the variable element name front hero, you see in brackets, you've got the little tilde/images. This is indicating that this is the folder where my variable images are located. Then when you look at individual records, you see the name of an image, and then you see the little dot/. This indicates that this specific image is in the folder we indicated above. And don't worry, if you're seeing all this for the first time, we have videos and we have resources that explain this a little bit more, so you don't have to memorize everything today. So let's look at the folder here. So here is my folder where I have my data source in my master stored. And you see this images folder is at the same level as my data source. So this is how Freeform Create knows how to go find it. Then when I click on my images folder, you see the individual images listed in there. So that's how Freeform Create knows where to go find these variable images and the barcode information. Okay, so let's create. So I open it up. Let me just make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so you see Freeform Create, very visual application. So you see my master comes up, and so now we are just going to add personalization to my existing master. In the left-hand column here, you see all of my variable fields. You see here's my text fields, here's my images, and here is my barcodes. So now I just drag and drop where I want everything to go. So drag over first name, So fun tip about FreeForm Create, when you're using variable text, you can also add static text right in the application. So I added hi and a little exclamation point here. I'm going to go, I'll keep the same font. I'll keep this as Verdana, but I'm actually going to change this to 14, so make it a little bit bigger. You can adjust the box to make sure that you've got enough room for everything to go. And now I am going to add another variable element into this box. So you see that I actually added multiple text fields within the same block. This is something that we call stacking. And this is actually a very important concept when working with variable text. And you'll see why this is so important a little bit later. Okay, so now I have my text block set up here. I'm actually going to click on Edit Rich Text, and this is a brand new feature in 1.5, which is our latest release. So this actually allows us to edit the appearance of individual fields within a text block. So I can click on this first line here. I can make it bold. I can change the color. So there's a couple of different ways you can change colors in FreeForm Create. So you can use this color picker here where you would just click on the color you want. You could use the slider here to be able to change the hue. I have presets set up that I could use, and I'll show you how to make those in just a second. You can also use spot colors. So we provide you a handful of information options for spot colors. FreeForm Create actually ships with a handful of included Pantone libraries, some of the same ones that are shipped on Fiery servers. So you could pick a spot color from one of these if you want, or if you have your own set of custom spot colors, you can import those to the FreeForm Create application by uploading an ASE or Adobe Swatch Exchange file. So you see here, I've actually already done that. So I have a couple of my own custom groups of spot colors here. But for this specific application, I'm going to use this pink that I've already set up as a preset. Save that. So you see that that changes. Do a quick little center. So let me talk about the colors real quick here. So to make my preset colors, I can enter the custom CMYK values here. And as soon as you have the right color, you click add color, and that's how you get your presets. Okay, so the text on this front looks good. So now I'm going to move to the images. And a little tip and a best practice for working with images in FreeForm Create, when you're setting up a page, always add the variable text first and then add the variable images. So you saw I just dragged it over. Now I, again, just drag it to the size and placement that I want it to be. All right, that's about where I want it. So let me do a quick preview. Okay, so here you see my variable image, you see my variable text here. Just real quick, I'm just going to show you that the image is changing and you see the name and other information changes. We'll come back to this in just a minute. Okay, front of my postcard looks good. Let's move on to the back. So again, we are going to add variable text here. So I'm going to just change this, make it a little bit smaller. FreeForm Create, when you're working with variable text, it remembers the properties of the last text element that you added. So I needed to make this one a little bit smaller. So let me just build the address block here. So again, just dragging and dropping. Very easy to do. And again, I'm stacking, and this is very important to stack this here. So let me get rid of these leading spaces. Okay, so that looks good. I can even change the line height if I wanted to, snug things up a little bit. All right, I'm going to go back to my rich text editor because I want to make the first and last name bold. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to add a barcode. So again, dragging and dropping with a barcode. So FreeForm Create includes over 150 built-in barcode types, anything from a QR code to a UPC to an ISBN to a USPS intelligent mail, which is actually what I'm going to use here. So you see, I can just scroll through this whole list of barcodes and it changes to USPS intelligent mail, and I just move it where I want it to go. So a quick note on barcodes. It's up to you to make sure that you have the right type of barcode content that you're going to use, the barcode type that you're going to use. FreeForm Create will actually do a quick check when you select a barcode to make sure the content you provide matches the format specifications for that barcode. But we don't actually do validation or anything like that. Okay, so here we go. There is the variable text in my barcode. Now let me just add my images. So again, dragging and dropping. Change this one to be a little bit bigger. Okay, the back of my postcard looks good. Let's go preview it again. So here is the back record. So a little bit more about what you're seeing in this pane. So over here, you see a list of all of the variable elements in your document, and you can filter what you're seeing by that specific element. So for this particular one, I'm actually going to choose address to. Just another note here, when you're looking at a variable element, especially for text, you can choose to have FreeForm Create show you the longest or shortest field in that category. And that helps you make sure, for example, if you've got names, you can look at the longest first name or the longest last name to make sure that your text box is big enough so that you're not wrapping over to a next line if that's something you don't want to do. Okay, so let's see what we're looking at here. So address to, you see that this specific field here actually doesn't have an address to. It's just a street address and then the city, state, and zip. But when I go to a record that actually has an address to, you see that it's added the extra line here. When it doesn't have that field, it hides it so that you don't have a blank line in your document. And again, it's doing this because I'm stacking my text elements together, which is why using that is so important when you have multiple text fields in a single block. Okay, so this looks good here. So now I am ready to save. So you see that I'm saving my file as a .ffp, which Hans explained is a Freeform Plus file. And again, this is a Fiery proprietary file package that contains all of the master and variable information. So there we go. So now what I would do is I would send it to my Fiery server. So you add your Fiery server here in the window. So this is a single postcard. So I will want to impose this, of course, using Fiery Impose. There's a couple of different ways I can do that. So I could send my file over to the Fiery server as a one-up postcard and then impose it when it gets to the Fiery server. But the most efficient way to do this is to use a server preset. So I've created a server preset that imposes a postcard 4-up on a 13 by 19 sheet on my house coded stock, and it goes ahead and adds the crop marks. So you see here is my settings. This is where I choose my server preset. Here is my server preset. I go ahead and select that. So now to send it over to my Fiery server, I would click process and hold. But in the interest of time here, I'm actually just going to show you what it would look like. So here is my file on the Fiery server. You see that it's got the .ffp Freeform Plus. That's the file package that Freeform Create is sending over. This is what it would look like if I sent over the one-up file. So here I can flip through the different records. You see each one here. At this point, if I wanted to, I would right-click and I would select Impose. But I actually used my server preset. So here you see in the workflow line, you see my server preset is called out. And you see when you look over here in the preview, you see that my file has been imposed 4-up. You see the front and the back, and you can scroll through it here. Of course, if I wanted to, I could open it in preview or an image viewer and inspect it even more closely. But for now, I think this gives you the idea of how you can really make your life easier in Freeform Create using presets. Okay, so let me show you a bonus application. So this is something brand new in our latest version 1.5, and I'm actually going to show you what to do when you need to add personalization to a pre-imposed master. So here is my 4-up master. Let me make it a little bit smaller. So we all know the situation where we're getting files from a customer and we get the master file from the designer. The designer may think they're being helpful by pre-imposing the master file for you, but you actually really want a one-up file because you need to be able to control the imposition yourself. You want to be able to, maybe you want to automate it. You need to add custom crop marks. You need to use a setting to be able to control the order in which the finished pieces come out. That's really hard to do if you've got the file already imposed. So you'd have to go back in your pre-press and cut the file down to be able to be, edit the file to be one up. Or you'd have to go back to the customer or the designer and say, hey, send me that one up file. Good news is with Freeform Create, you don't have to do any of that because we've showed you a way, we now have a way for you to be able to add personalization to those pre-imposed files. So here's my master, it's 4UP. I've actually gone ahead and pre-staged this for you. So you can see I've already added on this record, I've added my address block and I've added my barcode. So what I'm actually going to do now is I need to add this personalization to each piece. So what I'm actually going to do is highlight both of these variable elements, right click and select group. So by creating a group, I can add this on multiple places on a page. And just to note, you need to have at least 2 variable elements to be able to create a group. So now I can copy and I can just paste on each record. Here we go. So now I can actually use some of my alignment tools in Freeform Create to make sure that these are in the right place on each, on each record. Just do a quick align down here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So here, do a quick preview. So here you see my 4UP file. You see each one of the records on each page has the variable element. So let me go back here and actually show you one more thing. Because now that I've created a group, you see group information. So you see here the group ID 1. That means this is the one group on the page. If I had multiple groups that I was using on a page, you'd see that is group 2, group 3, etc. And you see that this is record 1 of 4. So here you click, you see record 2 of 4, record 3 of 4, record 4 of 4. So that's how the grouping functionality works. So here, this is one page. You see I click on a different record here. You see it's still on this page. But if I go to a different record, you see that this is on another page with, again, another set of 4 records. So this was a feature that users asked us for a long time, and we were very happy to be able to export, to add this in our latest release. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Hans to show you how to make creating VDP files with Freeform Create even easier. Hans, over to you.
Yep. Thank you, Giselle. If somebody could make me presenter, that would be great.
I am doing that. And I think while you're setting up, Hans, because we have a bunch of questions, so I think we can already start.
Yeah. There's great questions coming in. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question here. What Fiery server do I need to use Freeform Create?
You basically can use. I can't think of a Fiery that does not support Freeform Create. That's in the that's currently available. Like I said, Freeform Create. The goal is to lower the barrier. So no, I can't think any Fiery you have at the moment. Yeah.
So just because we know customers have a lot of different Fieries out there. So to be a little bit more specific, Freeform Create supports Fiery servers running FS150 and newer system software. And right now, Freeform Create is only available on Fiery servers for cut sheet or high-speed inkjet presses. So just a little more specifics there.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification, Giselle. Yes. All right. Let's get what Giselle showed is awesome. Very easy to create a variable data document with lots of control for the visual elements, with variable data, with variable images, text, barcodes, etc. But for when you have recurring, let's say in the example of the postcard, it's very likely this will be a recurring job. So what we can also do with FreeForm Create is to automate that through the paid version of Fiery Jobflow. So just going to do a quick demo because that's the whole purpose of automation, for this to be as simple as possible. Just going to do a quick demo on the two workflows that I would like to demo. First is a example called the diploma. So let me quickly show you. This is relatively simple, but you can imagine that this is a diploma that needs to be printed on a quarterly basis. The diploma design doesn't change that much, but the students, they do change. So when integrating FreeForm Create with Fiery Jobflow, what you do is we have a FreeForm Create automation module available that you can use. Part of the module is that you basically tell it where is the Freeform Plus file. Again, FreeForm Create, one of the unique benefits is it only uses one file format for both design, for printing, and for automation. There's no need to export or do anything else. You point to the exact same template that you use for creating or doing this manually. So I've created a workflow that says use diploma, the Freeform Plus file of this diploma, and then send it to Fiery Color 3 using process and hold. And then through all the different automation means, either hot folders or maybe the request comes in through your web to print solution, you can then submit that. I'm just going to copy paste this new data source to Fiery Jobflow, and as you can see here, it will send the job to do this, and at the moment it's being sent to the Fiery, where it will be processed and held. The same goes for the Salon postcard. So we also, not just variable text, but also the variable images to automate those more complex Freeform Plus files. And then again, here's a new data source. The only thing I need to do is submit it to the workflow, and then everything will be done automatically. Let me see if I can switch to the Fiery here. So this is the diploma example. I can open the diploma example, hopefully. Oh, no, not that. Preview. And as you can see, as I'm looking at the diploma, the Salon example also comes in. The Fiery will process the job. And this is also where you can not just submit the Fiery, as you can see here, is the diploma, the new diploma, but all done without any manual steps, all done automatically. So that's the workflow automation demo. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Hans. Jobflow, the integration with Jobflow is so important for those repetitive jobs that you do over and over, because you don't need to set them up in Freeform Create every time. It really just makes your life so much easier. Okay, so I see I am presenter again. Great. Thanks, Joanna. Let's go back to the presentation. Okay. So you have seen Freeform Create in action, and I can see by all of the questions in the chat that you guys are excited about the possibilities for your customers, which is awesome. So let's go through what you need to do next. So first, you need the Freeform Create application, which is available for both Windows and Mac. There's two different ways you can get it. The first is through Fiery Software Manager. So if you already have Fiery Command Workstation, then you have Fiery Software Manager, and you can simply download and install from there. This is actually the preferred method because it's the easiest way to keep your app up to date. So if you've been using Freeform Create for a while, now is a really good time to go to your Fiery Software Manager and make sure that you are on the latest version, which is 1.5. You can also download a standalone installer if you choose not to use Fiery Software Manager. So, did you know that your customers can actually use Freeform Create as well? You don't need access to a Fiery server to use the application. So, this means your customers could actually create their own materials and send them to you, to send the FFP to you to be able to produce on your Fiery driven printer. This is also a really great solution for customers concerned about data security, or if you need to comply with privacy regulations like GDPR in the European Union. We actually hear about quite a few of our customers that find Freeform Create really helpful with this. So with Freeform Create, for example, you could design and personalize a FFP file and send it to your customer along with an empty spreadsheet with maybe some placeholders for the information. They can attach the correct data source into Freeform Create and then send you back the FFP file with all of the information. You'd be able to print their FFP, and even you could scroll through it in Freeform Create and on the Fiery server, but you can't export their data. So this is a great way to work with customers that are uncomfortable with sharing their contact lists for various reasons. Joanna, this is actually a great time to check in on our last poll.
Yes, absolutely. So let me share our poll results here with everybody. And you should be able to see that for the first question of this poll, apparently most of the audience here do have concern for data security. That's very much in line with what you're saying, Giselle. And the second question, it also looks like very often our audience is getting issues with their data source.
Okay, that is, well, it's not good to know that you're having issues with your data source, but it's good for us to know that you're having issues with your data source. Helps us, maybe think of new features in the future to make that easier for you. So thank you, Joanna. We appreciate that information. Okay, so let's talk about how you can train yourself and your staff to use Freeform Create. So we have a free sample kit for you, which we call the Freeform Kit. It contains 18 different sample files, including all of the ones that we showed you today. Each file includes the master, the data source, the images, if it's a file that has variable images, the actual FFP, the Freeform Plus file, the native InDesign files I use to actually make the file, and a link to a how-to video. Plus, the kit also includes a comprehensive guide with tips and tricks on how for you to get the most out of Freeform Create. So many tips and tricks, and it's really helpful for you to look at it. So this kit is linked in the Freeform Create application, and it is also accessible from our website. And did you know that in the Freeform Create application, we include some sample files built right in? And we have so many videos. Every one of our demo applications has a step-by-step video of how to set up the file. We have quick tips videos for common tasks like setting up a server preset. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a video telling you all about the accelerators in the data source. And every time there is a new feature, we create an overview video of that as well. So you can find the videos on fiery.com, and you can also find them on Fiery Learning. And speaking of Fiery Learning, Joanna, you want to tell us a little bit about all the great stuff available on Fiery Learning?
Of course. So we have our Fiery Learning there where we have courses not only about Freeform Create, but everything Fiery, really. Every every corner from Fiery, from color management to automation. We have courses there that you can take on demand whenever you want. And we have express videos. We have also certifications that will give you credentials. And we have how-to guides that will also help you guide step by step through your jobs. So it is free to join and watch all the resources that we have. So make sure to go in there and become a member. Yeah, that's it.
Great. Thanks, Joanna. Okay, so a few more things to help you really get the most out of VDP and Freeform Create. We have a VDP checklist, which includes helpful tips and best practices for users of all experience levels. This helps ensure that you've got all the right components in place for a successful VDP campaign. Like, what is the goal of the campaign? How am I going to measure success, or how do my customers measure success? Is the call to action clear and easy for the recipient to understand? And how much of the printed piece will be variable? And for each variable element, do I have the data I need in my data source? And is my data good? Bad data is a recipe for disaster. And so we offer you some helpful tips for cleaning and validating your data. We also encourage you to join the conversation in Fiery communities. The Freeform Create group is really active, and it's a great opportunity to ask questions, get tips, and see what your peers are doing. So you'll find Hans and I chiming in on many of the conversations as well. Fiery Communities is free to join and to read posts, but if you'd like to comment or ask a question, you do need to register, which again, it's free to register. In fact, many Freeform Create features have been developed as a direct result of user feedback received through our group on communities, like the multi-up feature I mentioned, like lots of other features we have in Freeform Create. Those have been asked by customers. And we even have a beta group where you can test new releases before the official launch and give us feedback. So if you're interested in that, you can find the link to sign up for the beta group in our Freeform Create group on Fiery Communities. So Joanna, I think we have another poll.
Yes, this is our third and last poll. I'm opening up for you. Our first question is, would you use personalized images created by AI vendors like OpenAI and Google? Yes or no, or maybe you're not really sure what that is. And the last question is your exclusive opportunity to do that feature request. What feature would you like to see in Freeform Create? So please let us know there, click on submit. And yeah, thank you very much for your answers.
Yes, thank you. We as you can tell, we love user feedback. So if you've been watching this presentation and you're like, wow, there's something I really want to be able to do, put it in the poll and we will definitely take these things into consideration when planning our next release. Okay, so as you've seen, VDP can turbocharge marketing campaigns. So something as simple as personalization, it has a really big impact, as you saw in our earlier slides. So remember all those stats on increased response rates with personalization. Your customers should want to make every marketing dollar go as far as possible. So you can show them that personalization helps them target their customers in the most relatable, actionable way. And we've shown you a really easy way to create those personalized files using Freeform Create. And once you're comfortable with Freeform Create, show your customers how easy it is to make personalized files. So maybe you take a previous job they did with you, add in some personalization, and then show them how much more impact that could have on their recipient. Or you can even try it out yourself on a marketing campaign to your customer base about your own services. So in closing, we have shown you that VDP doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. FreeForm Create is a free VDP tool, and it's perfectly suited for VDP novices and experts alike with powerful features like images and barcodes. We have a ton of free resources to help you learn how to use FreeForm Create and get the most out of its capabilities. So get out there, start creating. The power of personalization is in your hands. Go and make your print personal. All right, Joanna.
Well, thank you. Let's just before I talk more about this, the next webinar coming up, let's take a look at the poll here. It looks like most people are willing to use personalized images created by AI. And we will be looking at those feature requests. If you do think about anything else, you can send us on the chat, or even after this webinar, we'll be sending you a survey, and you can also include that in the survey if you think about something later, or join communities, as Giselle just said, to talk to us more about it later. So, great. So before we go into those questions, I just would like to talk to you about a bit about our next upcoming webinar on April 24th. This is our new webinar series made with you in mind. Our Fiery Post is a new bite-sized webinar packed with practical knowledge to keep your business thriving. So this is going to be our first session, and it's all about matching Pantone colors the easy way. And the session is only 30 minutes long, 10 minutes of educational techniques, and 20 minutes of live Q&A with our color experts. We really want to keep it short and sweet and focus on your questions and needs, because we always see that you guys have so many questions for us, and we really want to listen to you and help you. So join us on April 24th at the same time as today. You can scan this QR code. I'm going to post a link to the session here on the chat just now, so everybody here can register and join us in a few weeks. Let me just get on the chat and I'll post that question. Then we're going to get to the questions that you guys shared with us. So here is the link. All right, so to the questions. I have a question here. I get a lot of NCR jobs. Can I use FreeForm Create to add numbering to them?
Ooh, yes, you can. So one of the new applications we put out a sample file for in our latest release is an NCR file. So there is a sample file and there's a video on fiery.com that shows you how exactly to set this up. It's a little bit more complex on the Fiery server because you do need to use a preset. You need to make sure you have your NCR set up with the right paper catalog entries, either pre-collated or collated, depending on what you do. But again, I talk about all of that in the video. So you can find that on fiery.com. FreeForm Create is great for NCR.
Great. Next question. Can I use FreeForm Create if I don't have a Fiery server?
So you can use FreeForm Create if you don't have access to a Fiery server. So at some point, you can use it to design files and then provide that FFP to someone that has a Fiery server. But if you want to print anything out of FreeForm Create, you do have to have a Fiery server because only Fiery servers recognize that file format.
Very good. Next question. Can I use FreeForm Create for envelopes?
You can. We also have a video and a demo application on that too. Very popular application.
Very good.
So Giselle, is there anything we don't have a video on?
I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah.
We have a lot of videos.
Thank you. Sorry for chiming in, Joanna. I see a lot of questions related to the same topic, which is variable data documents where you need multiple copies of a record. So we didn't demo this during this session, but yes, FreeForm Create actually has a way to be able to define the number of copies per record. So for instance, for business cards or for any other record that needs to be repeated a number of times, you can add a column in your data source that tells FreeForm Create, hey, generate 5 copies or generate 100 copies for this particular business card. We will follow up with a quick how-to on how to do this in the follow-up for this session.
Yes, we have a video on that.
Oh, awesome.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes.
Very good. So I have another question. My printer uses extra toners like gold and silver. Can I use those in FreeForm Create?
You sure can. That is a great way to really maximize those extra capabilities you have on your printer, whether it's specialty colors like gold and silver, or even the new extended gamut colors like some of the Fiery driven printers support with pink or neon yellow. So essentially, you would make sure that you've got those specific name colors uploaded into FreeForm Create as an ASE file with the right names that are recognized on the Fiery server. And then you could use those like any other spot color in FreeForm Create. And guess what? We have a video on that. So we will make sure to provide that link. I actually on fiery.com, I have a couple of example videos where I show applications with specialty colors. I've got one that just has one specialty color and one that has 2 different specialty colors, because there's quite a lot of Fiery driven printers now that support multiple specialty colors at the same time.
Very, very good. Very important question. How much is Fiery FreeForm Create?
FreeForm Create is free, no cost to be able to use the application. The only cost really to you if you want to print it is you need to have a Fiery driven printer.
Good. So in FreeForm Create, is there any improvements to include Arabic variable?
Hans, this one is for you.
Yeah, there's been multiple questions about this. So we are very well aware of this feature requests. The solution to this is not as straightforward as we expected. So we'll continue to evaluate. And while I can't commit, we do see the importance of for Arabic languages and other right to left languages. We just need to figure out how to implement that in FreeForm Create. So stay tuned, and thank you for your patience.
Yes, this is something we literally look at with every release to see if we have a way to do it, and we're not quite there yet, but as Hans said, we're committed.
Great. How does the image get into Excel?
Oh, that's a good question. So you do need to either manually or some other way, maybe there's an automated way to do it or a macro or something, I'm not sure, but you do need to enter the image path into FreeForm Create yourself. So that's the only sort of manual part of this, is you've got to make sure that's in your data source.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it's the file path to the image. It's not the image itself. I know you can drag and drop an image into an Excel sheet, but FreeForm Create won't recognize those images, as that would be a really complex way to try and do that.
Yes, thank you for that important clarification, Hans.
Yes. How to place the object based on variable coordinates, for example, 10 centimeters from left side of page?
We do not support variable position. There was a similar question about variable color. But actually, that's a great feature request. I haven't thought about that before. So we'll definitely have a look and see what we can do to support this in the upcoming or one of the upcoming releases of FreeForm Create.
Yeah, that's a great feature request. One thing we do have in FreeForm Create now is you can turn on a grid if you want precise placement of a variable element on a page. Again, the element would always be in that same place on every record, but you can actually place it. The grid helps you place it in a specific location. So, for example, barcodes. There's specific requirements as to, a specific area where barcodes need to be placed. We do help with that.
Yeah.
Okay, and talking in barcodes, I have a question. I want the barcode on the bottom of the address block. How
Yeah.
do I avoid empty lines above the barcode if some of the list columns contain empty variables?
See, that's where you need to use stacking. Because
Mm.
remember the application I showed you, there was not every recipient had anything in their address to field. And when you're stacking variable text elements together in a block, if Freeform Create sees that the record is empty, it will just collapse. It'll just get rid of the space. So I think that's what you're asking. If not, feel free to type back in the chat. But if you're stacking elements, you help avoid those awkward spaces.
Yeah.
Great.
It's actually a great feature request as I was thinking through this question. So definitely there's going to be an improvement that helps with this in the upcoming release.
Yes.
Okay. And does Freeform Create work with UK mail-mark barcodes?
That is a good question.
I'm pretty sure it does.
It sounds
as
familiar.
Giselle mentioned, there's only a few obscure barcodes that are not supported in Freeform Create, but again, with every subsequent Freeform Create release, we'll also update the barcode library. So, but since this is a very common postal barcode, I'm 99.999% sure it's supported.
I just looked in the application. I see a Royal Mail mailmark in the barcode list. So that sounds like what you are asking for.
Oh, great. Does Freeform Create allow you to save the entire file, the print graphic, and its variable data as multi-page PDF file for archive and cross-reference if needed, or does it only allow RIP to print the device?
So let's see. So you can only save your entire file out of Freeform Create as an FFP file. So that's the only way to get your whole file. If you have, say you want to provide a proof for a customer, we do allow you to export a single record as a PDF. I think I saw someone asking about that in the chat. So again, it's only a single record as a PDF. Again, the whole file is only supported as an FFP. But you can save it, you can save that FFP, and then you can always open that FFP again in Freeform Create in the future. So you can archive that file. Actually, this is a good question for Hans and maybe Mike. Can you, when you use Archive Manager on the Fiery, that would include an FFP file, right?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's the archiving you're referring to, it would definitely work there, and then you could just open it again and
yeah. And like Giselle explained earlier in the presentation, anyone can install Freeform Create on their Mac or Windows PC to see the FFP. One other way to export a PDF with all the records or a subset of records is to do a PDF export from ImageViewer. That way, the customer really sees the soft proof of the processed job as it would be printed on the Fiery.
Okay. And what about if they want to save the file as a PDF to print without the Fiery?
you cannot do that. The whole reason Freeform Create is free is we want you to be able to use it on a Fiery-driven printer, which is why we have this specific file format that only Fieries can consume.
Okay, for the IMB, it appears to be too small in the sample shown. Is there a feature to resize so it meets USPS requirements?
Yes, you can drag, you can resize all of your barcodes. Just drag the corner and make it to the size that you need it to be.
Do header columns on the CSV file need to match the freeform text fields?
So Freeform Create is actually the name you see in the text field in Freeform Create is your column name in your Excel doc. So by nature, they do actually match.
Yeah. There was one other comment about an issue from a customer that didn't see the column header. So I would like to ask that attendee to reach out to me and Giselle directly and then we can see what's going on.
Yes.
And is there a limit of records to merge in a project?
Haha, it's also a very popular question.
Yes.
Here's my answer. Theoretically, no, there's no limit. If you want to use 50 records, 1 record, 5,000 records, or 50 million records, that's all up to you. Whether that's smart is another thing. So while there's not a theoretical limit, but let's say the more records you add to FreeForm Create or ask FreeForm Create to process, obviously the longer it will take to save the FFP, the Freeform Plus file. So do take that into account. But once, so, and then when it comes to just from a practical point of view, based on my experience working with many customers today and in the past, when handling lots of records, they prefer to print in batches. So that's also why we added a batch feature in FreeForm Create, because you do not want to start printing 50,000 records only to find that after record 29,348, something happens and you need to start printing or you need to reprint some of the records. So no theoretical limit, there's no programmed limit, but from a practical point of view, we always advise to work in batches.
Yes. And one other tip that we think would help with very large files is actually using job flow. Because one of the parts that sort of could take the longest if you have a very large file is saving, as Hans said, is saving that file on the Fiery on your client where you're running Freeform Create, which depending on how fast that is, there's a lot of elements there. One way to maybe get around this is set up your Freeform Create file, put in maybe a dummy data source to, get everything set up. Then in job flow, you can actually add your full data source with all your records there, because then you're offloading the saving and processing from your client with Freeform Create actually onto the Fiery server. So that could be another way around being able to use bigger files than you would for practical purposes in the Freeform Create application.
Yeah, thank you, Giselle. That's a great comment and a great reminder. When doing the automated workflow through Fiery Jobflow, a lot of the visual interaction obviously is not used. So creating large Freeform Plus files and sending them to the Fiery takes much less time when doing that automated through Fiery Jobflow.
Okay, thank you. And how would you create groups to repeat records, like in business cards?
Yeah, like mentioned earlier, we have a feature in Freeform Create where you can set a number of copies per record. We didn't demo that, but as Giselle mentioned, there's a video on that, and we'll quickly do a quick how-to explaining how to do that in Freeform Create. Yeah.
Okay. I have another question here. Cut and stack VDP so that 1 to 250 are on the top right corner and 251 to 500 top left, etc. on the already imposed example.
Yeah. This is a when customers provide you with pre-imposed jobs, this is one of the challenges that you will face. The practical advice I can give here is to pre-sort the data source to take this into account, to have the cut and stack records. So number 1 to 250, 250 to 500, etc. It's not super complicated, and again, I will see if I can write up a quick short tutorial on how to do that in Excel.
Great. If the designer put in placeholders for the variable text and then sent as a PDF, is there a way to remove those or make them live in the program?
So the if there's already placeholders in the PDF itself, so FreeForm Create does not recognize those placeholders. It would need to parse the PDF and come up with a really complicated way to do that. So, but what you can do is create a text variable, and you can also set the background color of that text variable. So you basically hide the placeholders while adding the variable text elements. It's a common practice also with other paid variable data applications.
All right, I am mindful that we are already almost 10 minutes over, so I will take 3 more questions, and then we could, if there are some of these questions are unanswered, we will reach out to you later. Okay, so I can't paste data from the clipboard while I'm filling a text space in the app. Do you have a solution?
Yes, this I would like to ask to update to the latest and greatest release. We did see that issue in the previous or the release before that. So if that hasn't been solved yet in the latest release, that would be awkward. And then I would ask you to reach out to me and Giselle so we can have a look.
Okay. And let's take here the last question. Can we use FreeForm Create instead of SPD?
Not necessarily. I think I understand the what the question is about. I do know about SPD. So the goal would probably be to be able to set media callouts for the different pages in the variable data document. So today we don't, but I would love to hear your feedback on the use case for this and how you would envision this working from FreeForm Create.
All right. Well, thank you very much. As I mentioned, we do have some questions here that we weren't able to get to, but we'll get back to you offline. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be sure to register for our next session on April 24th, and I hope you see you there. Thank you. Have a nice rest of the day, everyone. Thank you to our presenters.
Yeah, thank you for all the exceptional questions. Thank you so much.